YouTube channel. My name is Untitled, and today I record a somewhat special video. It is devoted primarily for the students here at our Faculty of Physics who are taking part in the seminars on magnetism and spintronics, or magnetism and superconductivity, like we have at this semester. And in this seminar we have two main aims. First of all, it's all about education. Students are selecting some topic, some modern hot problem in science. They work with real literature. They prepare a presentation, for example, 30 minutes or so. They give it to their colleagues. And then they ask questions. And in this communication during the semester, principally students are collecting quite some experience and getting quite good understanding in some topics. But besides, there is another issue. So we want to help students to improve their presentation skills. If they will stay in academia, they will need it every day. If they will go to industry after finishing their master diploma, I think still they will need these skills kind of quite often. Therefore, we just using this opportunity, and usually I start the seminar with this presentation here. During my career, I collected certain experience, and what I do, I simply share some hints with the students, and that's why the talk is named simply Scientific Presentation, a few hints. Okay, let us start. Here you can see the outline of the talk. I made it like in a form of stairs, and I split it in the blocks. First of all, you need to think what you do before you prepare your slides at all. Then, how do you prepare your slides? Then, before you go to the stage, during the presentation and after the presentation. So we will go step by step through all these points. Okay? Before you prepare the slides, what is very important when you are going to present your slides, or before you principally take any action in your life, is to understand what is your target. What do you want to achieve? Just having clear understanding for this, you can do your job properly. And if you are talking about scientific talks, there are many different options. For example, you were working on some concrete, very interesting topic, and you achieved many results within 2 years' time, let's say, and you want to share them with your colleagues. Or you got some new ideas you would like to share it. Or maybe you develop some new setup which is able to measure something which nobody could measure before. Just use the opportunity and share your know-how. Another situation can be that you are searching for somebody who would be able to produce some special samples for you. And you know here there are many people sitting, and some of them can do it. Make your talk in a way that you prepare your listeners for the future communications, that you are coming to them after the presentation and say, maybe you had the chance to listen to my talk, would it be possible to talk to you about potential collaboration? Yeah? Or maybe you would like to impress. For example, it's a job interview. Then your task is very simple, to show, hello, here I am, I'm very good in all consensus, why don't you consider to hire me? Okay, so think, what do you need? The next question, of course, is very coupled to the first one. What is my central message or take-home message? Define for yourself what is your take-home message, and then guide your listeners towards this message. Next step is you need to think who is sitting in the room. Again, there are different options. If this is a scientific presentation or maybe focused session, or focused conference, then there will be colleagues, scientists, and they principally know what is it all about. They understand why you do what you do, and just maybe make your introduction a bit shorter and try to go to the point, because they are interested to know something very specific. Maybe there are referees sitting, address some additional problems, speak a bit more about outlines, show what are the challenges and how you plan to solve them. Reference for paper or for proposal. As students, if these are students, ask them what they studied already. Do they know quantum mechanics already, or they're just first year student? Tune your presentation. Public. If this is a general public, it's probably the most complicated part. Because what you have to do in this case, you have to find a way how to explain quite complicated things in a very general way, that it is understandable for everyone. And based on this, you tune the scientific depth, you check how many animations and figures you want to know. For general public, more. For scientists, they don't want to see too many animations. How large is introduction? Think if you have more theoreticians or experimentalists in the room, you also need to tune formulas and the description of experimental setup correspondingly. And the last question you have to ask yourself, is my talk interesting to the audience? Because if in the process of talk you will reach this state, it means that you do something wrong. And in some cases it might be rather tricky task simply to keep attention. Imagine that a teacher of physics from some school brought pupils to your lecture. And of course there are many talented young people who are interested in physics. They will listen to you without any problem, but there will be also people who would like to focus on other subjects. And your talk is not really interesting for them. They just watch when it will be over. Still, even in this case, try to find a key to them. Try to make your talk interesting. Try to attract them. Then you will do your job properly. Next step is how to prepare your slides. Today I present you this presentation principally from the perspective of a group leader who primarily gives already invited talks, so longer talks, 30 minutes or so. If you have a scientific presentation for 12 minutes, just usual oral talk, this might not necessarily be applicable for you. For the seminar, which you have now, it's also different. You need to tune all the skills, you need to understand what is staying behind each advice, and only then you will be able to reformat it for your concrete needs. Take it as a part of your training. So, how the typical scientific presentation looks like. Usually we start with the cover page, we discuss theme, motivation, outline, then we have end slides about results. That's what's the most important, that's why you came to the conference, and you finalize the talk with the conclusions. Okay, let us go step by step per each slide. Cover page. What would be the recommendation? Of course, some nice picture is always good. If you have one, so this is a directional coupler we published last year, and we ordered this professional graphics and we are happy to use it. It looks nice, it more or less explains some of the physics we are investigating. Logo. University of Vienna. Logo is your flag, it's very important. It should be up, so try not to put it down. In my concrete case, we also have a logo for the nanomagnetism and magnonics group, but you see I on purpose put it down to show that there is a priority. And template for your slides. Principally, template, each university, each company has corporate design. And I would strongly recommend you to use it. You still can modify it. For example, you can make it looking slightly different, but try to stick within the same style and try to use the same colors. Because there was already a professional designer who was thinking, or a group of designers who were thinking about proper selection of colors. And these colors match each other, yeah? So it's very complicated in reality to use different colors which are looking okay together. And this job is already done for you. Just use it and everybody will be happy, and you will show that I am present here at University of Vienna and you will be in agreement with all rules of your institution. Title of your presentation, short and clear. Inverse design Magnonic. 3 words, everything is clear. Your name. So in this paper there were 3 authors, therefore I just place all of us here, and with this 1 or 2 I define the affiliation, and again I'm trying to be concise. Faculty of Physics, University of Vienna, Austria. That's it. Funding agencies. Please use always the opportunity to say thank you to the funding agencies which gave you resources to perform your research. And what else people do it quite often, they add here on the title page also the name of the conference, but this is up to you. Let us move to the team. Again, if you are principal investigator or group leader, then what you do, you present usually the photo of the whole group. I usually say, okay, we have Sebastian who is doing quantum magnonics, we have Alexander who is an expert in superconductivity, but then it's very important to concretize who is actually did most of the job which you will present today. And usually I say in this particular case it was Dr. Chi Wang who performed most of the research and obtained these results which are presented in today's talk. Also use an opportunity to present your external collaborators, who particularly was important for this result. Okay, and now let us say a few words again about template. So you see that, let us pay attention how we placed our title. So we have this box here with rather thin line that it's not too overloaded, and with middle size of the font. Think what is good for you. Where do you put your title? How large is your font? Not too large, not too small. And then also pay attention to this line at the bottom. What I like to do, I put my name, I say where this presentation is given, when. This one is automatic, yes, that I, for a case I forget to update it, slides, it's staying here and it always gives you just actual date. And then you have also page number. Page number is especially important if you are going to present a long presentation. It helps people simply to ask you questions. They can always say, could you please go to page number 14? I have a question there. Okay, next slide. Motivation. We are physicists. Everything what we do should go from our internal curiosity. Only then it works efficiently. Try to use this slide and explain people why that what you do is of interest for yourself. And also try to say in which kind of domain of problematics it lies. Yeah? If it's about data domain, then show Simo say that we are searching for a way, maybe we could do something differently or better. And eye catchers are also very good here, so nice pictures. But be careful, tune the length of your introduction. If there are experts sitting in the room, make it rather short. Just refresh their memories, what is it all about, and go on. If there's a general public, maybe devote several slides to this and explain why it's important for people in general. Okay, outline. Again, if you give a 12-minute talk, please don't use outline. At least that would be my recommendation. You have to use your time with maximal efficiency possible and just go to the point. If this is a long talk, like invited talk, or it is a seminar, then outline might help. Still, do not use trivial outlines like it is in a book. Introduction, methodology, result, discussion, conclusions. People understand that you will go through these points. Try to use this opportunity to go immediately to deliver some information. So I usually put 3-5 points and I immediately go to the point what will be it. First I will discuss how to make waveguide. Second I will show the directional coupler. Third, I will do progress report and benchmarking, which is shown by this picture. So I also use highlights, which help people immediately to understand. Still, besides, keep in mind that it helps you also to keep your listeners always with you. Imagine that at the end of the first section, you were going already too much into the details, yeah? And what do you want to do then? And they already, some of people tired and they kind of lost attention. Then they know when you come to the next point, you kind of start from the beginning. They again all with you. So use this also as an opportunity to keep attention of people during your whole presentation. Yeah, and as I said, nice eye catchers would help. So this should be the pictures which people will see during your presentation. So now we are coming to results. How many slides of results should I put in my presentation? It's hard to estimate before you will make a training, but as a starting point, we usually say that for scientific talk, where everything goes quite dynamic, we have 1 slide per minute. If this is a seminar or a special lecture, you might need much more, 3 minutes maybe. I would not do more than 5 minutes, and really it would make sense to refresh already something clear. Limited number of words per slide. Keep focus. I like telling the story that I started to work with computers which did not have Windows. It was DOS operational system. And DOS, it could not do multitasking. You either had to play game or to listen music. And our brain in some sense is similar. People either listen to you and they focus on that what you are telling, or they read what is shown here. It's really hard to do simultaneously reading and listening. Therefore, when you put here many text, a lot of text, it won't work efficiently. So I prefer to use just short phrases, and if I want to make it very efficient, I just read it. The logic value is coded into spin wave amplitude, and that's it. You focus both directions. So text should be readable, even at the very end. Sit in your room. It shouldn't be too small. People should be able to read it without stress. And don't use too many font sizes. Usually we are trying to stick to 3 font sizes. 1 for title, maybe 1 to working fonts, and maybe 1 for literature. Be careful with contrast. Don't use too large font sizes and too small. It sometimes looks odd. Also with colors, as we discussed, be careful with colors. Balance, commas, and so on. You see, I don't use here dots on purpose because I believe it just makes slide more dirty. It doesn't really help here, it's not a book, but it's completely up to you to decide. Smart animation. So here you will see some examples. Usually I just move some text or something show up on the empty space. It helps you, but you can check many examples. Some people use it even much more efficient, and it really helps to make your talk even more attractive, not only efficient. And polish your slides, yeah? So if your slides are polished, it means you spent a lot of time, you tried hard, you respect your listener, and it always creates a good impression. If there are mistakes, you see that objects are placed somehow, it creates a feeling, okay, it's not really good. Okay, and how do you place the objects? Here just a few hints. Actually I heard them from a designer. I selected just one of the slides, and this one is selected because I have different objects of different sizes, and the task was how to put them together that it still looks okay. And the way how it was done here is that I made this, of course you never do that in reality, just imaginary lines, and then I grouped all objects to this size. Okay, literature I especially shifted a bit to the side to have it slightly different. But principally you see that this size of this main picture was scaled just to fit between these two lines. So here I have an empty space. How do I place this object? Try to use symmetry. Just make that this distance and this distance are equal, then it looks okay. How to put it vertically? Just draw such a line and tune your talk here symmetrical, here symmetrical, like it's done here. Yeah, then it's good. And final advice I got is that leave some space for logo, should be able to breathe. It's not good to put many objects close to your logo. Okay, so many hints, so just try. And we came to conclusions. Again, you remember we started with take-home messages, so what I do, I just place these take-home messages here and here, clear, concise, and I hope it will help me to deliver my main messages to the auditorium. I use eye catchers. If that's something which they seen already as a presentation, just repeat it. Keep in mind that this slide will be hanging for 1 or 2 minutes, because after you will say thank you, then chairman will stand up, there will be applause, then there will be first question, and all this time the slide is hanging here. Therefore, if you want to give a chance people simply to make a note about your publication, just do it, because it will help. Maybe they just want to go in depth and they don't want to make literature search, then they just make a note and they will have a chance to read it. And always finish your talk with thank you. It always works good. People came to your talk, they spent some time, just say thank you for that. Okay, now we are coming to the next step before you go to the stage. And this one I split into 2 parts. First of all, you are in a hotel. Still in the hotel, presentation is ready. What do? You do training and training and training. If you gave already 100 invited talks, doesn't mean that 101st will be successful without training. So I would recommend just to be professional here. In some cases you can train in front of mirror. What works also very good, since we have smartphones nowadays, just record your talk and then watch it. You will spend half an hour, but you will immediately understand if messages were delivered clear, if everything was running okay, or you feel something could be improved. Check how you were behaving. Did you move properly? What were your gestures, and so on. Ask your friends and colleagues for feedback. So usually when we give some scientific presentation in the groups, there is rehearsal. So people are coming and just watching, giving feedback, and it helps to keep a good quality of presentation. And yeah, if you feel the diction should be improved, I heard that there is such a trick which dictors from TV or so are using. You can take a cork trees, you put it between your teeth, and then you give the whole presentation with this cork trees. It trains your muscles, it's much more complicated for you to talk. Then when you take it out, it helps you to do the job slightly better. Okay, so this is all you did in a hotel, and now you are already in the room. And first what you do, you choose your location positions. Rooms are very different, large, small, horrible, and you need to understand immediately where will be your slide that people can see and where you will be yourself staying. And usually if you are right-handed, yeah, so you like to use pointer like this, then that's my pointer. It's Bluetooth, I don't like it really much, but it works somehow. Then you're staying from the left side from the screen, like this. So people say that you want to be open. If there is a place on this side, then it is advised by many people to use pointer in the left hand and to do it like this. But my advice would be check if you feel yourself comfortable. If you are fine with that, just use it with left hand, it will be good. If you are nervous or you never used it in the left hand, your hand starts shaking, just use it like you feel yourself better. Because all the stress goes to your listeners, better to find the most comfortable situation for yourself. Have a memory stick with a copy. So in past, especially in past, computers were down time to time during the presentation, and then it's very good to have memory stick and you just plug it in the computer of the next speaker, and you lose 2 minutes or so, but you still can deliver your talk. So it's good trick. And Keep in mind that chairman is ahead now, each presentation. Therefore, if chairman gave your name, affiliation and title of the talk, please don't repeat it. It's kind of not clear why do you give that information which was given already. Okay, now you are at the stage during the presentation. If you will go to soft skill trainings and so on, everybody will tell you that first impression is important. How do you come to the stage? Yeah, it's always good to look young, dynamic, friendly, but at the same time, my personal recommendation would be just be authentic. As long as you will try to play somebody, it might play against you. Greetings sent for the introduction, it's clear. Be self-confident and authentic. Stand upright and look friendly. So there is a little trick how you can stand upright. You just put air, then you take air out, but you continue staying in the same form, and everything is good. Do not move periodically, but also do not stay. So if you will stay like this, all your seminar, all your presentation, it won't be efficient. If you start to oscillate, it's also not good. You kind of torture your listeners. Try to balance your motion, do it smart. Sometimes you want to come closer to your listeners to tell them so. Then you want to focus on PowerPoint, on your slide, you just come back and then you use it. So move from A to B, from B to C, from C to A. This kind of things work good. Talk to people, never talk to the screen. It doesn't work good. Talk always to people. And find listeners. So, it was actually a very interesting situation that when this pandemic COVID situation started, we had to switch to presentations and lectures online, and it was quite tricky at the beginning to learn to talk to your screen. When everybody switched off cameras, you had a clue if they're watching, what are their emotions and so on. It was a barrier which we had to overcome. But it also gives you a clear understanding what advantage you have that you can see faces of people, because on these faces you can immediately understand if they understand the information, if it's interesting, or they are falling asleep. If eyes are closed, it means it's bad, you need to do something. Yeah, so use this opportunity and it helps you to do your job properly. Okay, and use pointer properly. So some people just shooting, click, 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 it doesn't good. Some people start to move it too far, too much, something like this. It also doesn't work. Try to use pointer, focus it on something, and then slowly move. Just wait for half a second, then it's good. You have shown, you gave your message. Okay, I have more lines here. Do not speak monotonically. If you are speaking, it will be really hard to keep attention of people. Try to go a bit up, a bit down, change style, here faster, here slower, and this will help you to keep attention of people. Make jokes if you are confident. Sometimes it doesn't work good, so be careful. Keep in mind about non-verbal communication. So some researchers say that 55% we obtain is coming from our non-verbal communication, from our mimics, from our gestures and so on. And they say that 38% goes from the tone of the voice, how confident you are, and so on. Therefore, and only the rest goes from actually that what you are saying. Therefore, keep in mind that you need to watch not only what you are telling, but also how do you do this. Yeah, it's important. Perform gestures properly. So this is another instrument, your hands. It helps you to deliver information. It helps you to communicate with people. Use it properly. If you make some gestures, don't, for example, I show this is an apple and I would like to cut it into 4 parts. And then keep apple here for some time. You create an imaginary object and people want to see it. If you will cut it and then disappear, it doesn't work. You kind of deleted the object. So, now this next statement, balance between car selling and academics. What do I mean here? You know, in the German language, you do not give lecture, you read lecture. And once I really seen such a situation when a professor came, took scripts, stand there and for 1 hour monotonically was reading everything what is written here. It was really hard to follow, to me personally. But there is another side of the story. There is, I name it, kind of card selling. So many American speakers, especially, you can see, they're coming in front of the stage. They are very active. They are pushing, and it works efficient. But also, I think it's not so appropriate for academic. Try to find a balance and still be yourself. Be authentic. Then everything will be good. Repeat the sessional points when necessary. You can make some take-home messages also after each block in your outline. So some sub-conclusions if needed. And yeah, very important at the conferences, stay in time. Respect your colleagues, especially at big conferences where there are parallel sessions. People might come only to your talk, only to talk for the person after you and wants to go somewhere else. Therefore, it's very important to be in time. Okay. Again, we keep in mind that we need to keep attention of people, and here's one example taken from this source, from Tiffany Williams. Today's talk is on keeping the attention of the audience. I would not recommend to use the same approach in your real talk, but I still say that it is important to make sure that your listeners are listening to you. Find your way. Make your talk interesting and attractive. Make sure that all the time they are with you. And after the presentation, okay, you are over. Chairman is stand up. What do we do? Again, you keep in mind the chairman is ahead. The chairman is the person who is selecting who is asking question now. Yeah, it's not you. Your job is to present and to answer the questions. Because many people really start to select you. It's not good. Do not evaluate questions of colleagues. Also, very often you can hear that if somebody is asking, you say, thank you very much, it's a very good question. You can do it, but be careful, because it's already in a gray zone. When you say this, you are evaluating the question and the person who is asking question. Oh yeah, you are good, yes, that's a good question, good mark. No, it's not so good, I won't give you a good mark. This is not your job to evaluate, yeah? Your job is to answer the question, therefore just what always works good is thank you very much for this question. It's of high interest for me because of, and use and explain. Answer concisely. There might be more questions in the room. So usually after presentation, chairman say who has questions, you see how many hands. If there are many hands, try to be concise. If there was 1, 2 hands, just use this time to deliver more information to your listeners. If you see that you need more time, so there are some real scientific discussions started during the conference, but you understand that there is a next speaker already waiting. The little trick what people usually do, they say, it's really interesting what you're talking. I would be happy to continue this discussion. Would it be possible to I suggest let us meet just after the session at a coffee break and let's continue. And usually it works really good in scientific community. Okay. If you got many questions, it means that you did everything right. If you have no questions, that either your talk was just absolutely perfect, which is not always the case, or you didn't reach your target properly. So just use it as a criteria to evaluate yourself, how you did your job. Okay, and then at the very end, here's this again from Tiffany Williams, some jokes. Keep in mind that when person is asking you questions, there is a direct question, but sometimes people also have some indirect information behind. Or for example, they just would like to, instead of asking, they would like to deliver some information to other people. Also happens. Therefore, always try to understand what is real staying behind the question, and it will help you to answer appropriately. Yeah, I won't read all these jokes, just the last one, which is my favorite. If you say, yes, the additional experiments you suggest are very appropriate, you mean I don't care about running more experiments, I simply want to graduate. It's a joke, but message is still the same. Try to understand all aspects of the question and try to give the answer appropriately. Okay, and the very last suggestion from my side, as I said, you will be presenting something all your life in academia or outside of academia. Therefore, these skills are important. I would suggest just to go to internet, to Google, and to find more search. Spend 1 hour, 2 hours, check how other people are doing it, what advices they have, think if it's good or bad for you or for your concrete task. And at the end of the day, you will improve your presentations, and it will be helping you principally all your career. And with this, I would like to thank you for your attention.